From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's Wednesday, October 28th, and right now on Good Morning Indiana.
We don't want any business to have problem growing. The only issue we have is the location.
Residents in Noblesville fighting a plan to put a gravel pit inside a popular park. Their concerns about the project and why the company in charge says it will help the community. 2 Central Indiana nursing homes being fined for not following COVID-19 guidelines. WRTV investigates the safety protocols they're being cited for breaking. And a new update on your iPhone designed to track COVID-19 is causing controversy. We'll explain how the feature works and why people are concerned that the government is tracking you too.
Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday, and we are always looking on the positive side, Lauren and Todd. So as I stepped outdoors this morning, I thought, okay, it's dark, but it stopped raining and it's going to get warmer, so it's going to be a great day, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, we'll take some warmer days at the end of October, Todd. You always call them bonus days when it gets a little bit warmer than normal. So is today one of those days?
It does get warmer and it does get drier. I don't know if it quite gets into that bonus category because
wishful thinking.
I usually reserve those for completely sunny days and 60s and 70s. But there is improvement. I think that's the key word going forward. That rain moved in Monday evening, and then yesterday was just damp and dreary with that drizzle off and on. Here's a live look at storm team radar. And as we zoom in, there's still a few very, very light spotty showers out there to the north, Alexandria to Muncie, Portland down to Winchester. And there's a little bit of drizzle and that overall damp feel across the rest of central Indiana. But this is the last little wave of moisture going through this morning. And you notice already the clouds starting to break apart a little bit off to our north. But the break is going to be short-lived because we have a lot of stuff going on here. We have snow in the panhandle of Texas, and then a couple hundred miles away we have a tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico, and they'll be heading in our direction overnight tonight and for the day tomorrow, which is virtually going to be a complete washout. 40s outside right now throughout the day today. As the clouds thin, we do get a little bit of sunshine in here mid to late morning into the early afternoon, and that will help to get our temperatures up into the mid-50s for your afternoon highs. We'll talk about that soaking rain and a lot of wind heading our way for tomorrow coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much for keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning, taking you down to the south side. This is I-65, a view near Edgewood Avenue. This is just south of the I-465 interchange. You can see here that traffic is traveling up to speed. We don't have any crashes out there on the roads at this hour, but of course we'll keep you updated. Here at 6:03, a group up in Noblesville is determined to let their city leaders know how they feel about proposed plans to put a gravel pit in one of their parks.
Lauren, they're hoping to stop that project. And this morning, WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us live from Noblesville with their concerns. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So yeah, we are here at Potter's Bridge Park in Noblesville. And if you can see, it's kind of hard because it's dark, but this is a beautiful wooded area with lots of walking trails and of course, Potter's Bridge here. And now Beaver Materials, they want to put a gravel pit here on this property. Obviously something some Noblesville residents aren't crazy about. So take a look at this video as dozens of people in downtown Noblesville were last night shouting their message loud and clear that they do not want the gravel pit in their neighborhood park. On the group's website, don'tleaveittobeaver.com, a play on the company's name. They list other options, health, safety, and ecological concerns. And Rachel Raymer is one of the many people involved in this charge.
There are 600 properties within a half-mile distance of this gravel pit. And economic impact studies show that it could negatively affect property values between 20 and 30%.
Now, we spoke to Allie Beaver, who's leading the proposed gravel pit, and she tells us they are doing everything by the book and eventually want to turn the gravel pit into a lake similar to the one that Beaver Materials built at Ketowah years ago. Now, this issue won't go before the Noblesville Common Council until December, and we did speak to the president of the Common Council, and he says nothing official is on the books yet, but he will listen to both sides before they make an official decision in December. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
All right, Kelsey, thank you. The time right now is 6:05 on your Wednesday. Let's go to Democracy 2020 now. And due to unprecedented number of people early voting here in Marion County, Clerk Mila Eldridge will extend early voting hours beginning today at the City County Building here downtown. So today through Friday, you can vote early at the City County Building from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. That's 2 extra hours. The poll will be open each day. On the weekend, voting hours will be from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. That's 4 extra hours per weekend day. And then Monday, November 2nd, voting hours will be from 8 a.m. until noon. Again, this is at the City County Building here in downtown Indy. Marion County satellite voting sites, those will have normal hours. Raphael.
The three men running for governor took part in their final debate last night before Election Day. Incumbent Republican Governor Eric Holcomb, Democrat Dr. Woody Myers, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater discussed a wide range of issues last night. The pandemic was once again a main topic of discussion. When asked about whether the state should mandate a coronavirus vaccine once one is available, here's what each candidate had to say.
And a vaccine, even if it's been tested to be safe, will have possible side effects and risks, just like most other medicines do. And it must be a citizen's responsibility to determine what level of risk they're willing to take, what level of risk they are willing to put their children under, and government should not be involved in that decision. Thank you.
But I'm hopeful that when a Biden-Harris administration takes office and we have a new CDC and FDA director, that one will be forthcoming. I know that they'll look at the research and they'll follow the recommendations of the manufacturers and carefully look at any restrictions so that there may be some patients for whom the vaccine is inappropriate and therefore wouldn't be recommended.
Well, it shouldn't be mandated, but it should be encouraged when it's safe. And it will have to go through the proper approval from the federal government.
For a more in-depth recap of last night's debate, go to our website, WRTV.com, and click on this story.
Well, the coronavirus cases in our state are rising. For a 6th straight day, health officials report more than 2,000 new cases of COVID-19. On Tuesday, 2,062 cases were reported. That brings the total number of Hoosiers who have tested positive for the virus since March to 166,564. So far, more than 2.7 million people have been tested for the virus in the state of Indiana. State health officials also report 51 additional Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. To date, 3,958 Hoosiers have died with the virus. We expect another update from state health officials later this afternoon.
From WRTV Investigates, state regulators have fined and cited 2 central Indiana nursing homes for serious workplace violations. Here are the details this morning. The Indiana Occupational Safety and Health Administration, also known as IOSHA, fined Greenwood Healthcare Center $7,000. The fines stem from not doing medical evaluations on employees who were required to wear N95 respirators and not creating an effective respiratory protection program for workers. Now in Indianapolis, Wildwood Healthcare was also fined for similar violations. They're both operated by CommuniCare out of Ohio. We reached out to CommuniCare to get a statement, and they tell us in part that Greenwood and Wildwood Healthcare Centers believe the decision to issue these citations was made in a vacuum. The centers have prioritized worker and resident safety from the outset of the pandemic and continue to do so today. They went on to say, we have spent more than $4 million providing PPE and testing to our centers in addition to what they were able to get from their regular supply chains. We will be contesting the charges and we will work with IOSHA through their dispute resolution process to ensure a fair outcome. Lauren?
Raphael, at 6:09, 2 Indianapolis men are working to improve the area they grew up in by opening up a grocery store. The Wall Street Market grocery store is located along East 38th Street near Emerson Avenue. That neighborhood is one of the city's hardest hit food deserts, and that's why Michael McFarland and his business partner Marcus Williams were inspired to bring fresh food right to their own community. The store opened back on the 4th of July, and already McFarland says some of his shelves are empty thanks to a steady stream of customers. He says it's a clear sign of how badly the area needed a grocery store.
People from the neighborhood, they love us. They love that we're from the neighborhood. They love that we're here helping and supporting them, giving them options, you know, so they don't have to go all the way across town just to get a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk.
The Wall Street Market is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m.
So this is disappointing. It's a no-go for the holiday lights at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Indianapolis Motor Speedway announced they made the decision to allow for end-of-season testing and track maintenance. Lights at the Brickyard first started back in 2016. Uplifting and encouraging business owners in the age of COVID-19. How women in technology are trying to flip the script on race and diversity.
And another hurricane is expected to hit the Gulf Coast tonight. The latest on the storm's strength and where it will make landfall. Todd.
And that hurricane will impact our weather as we get into the day tomorrow. I know there's a little bit of patchy drizzle out there right now, but overall today's a decent day. But look at all the moisture to our south. That will be impacting us in a big time way. Starting late tonight, your Thursday pretty much a washout. We'll detail it all in your WRTV Storm Team forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues here in just a couple minutes.
It is 6:14 on your Wednesday. Raphael, as many jobs have now turned digital during COVID-19 and working from home, advocates say now is the time to encourage more people to get into tech.
And that's why leaders in Indianapolis are trying to engage more women in technology, especially minority women. NetLogix is a consulting services company that helps organizations manage change. The company's CEO, Audrey Taylor, tells WRTV that businesses should reflect society.
I think businesses need to look like the society we're part of. We know women make most of the financial decisions in our private lives. So recognizing that and that they're good managers of those kind of decisions, it seems silly to not allow them to make decisions in boardrooms and all the way down.
We have more information on how NetLogix and how to get involved in a technology career right now on our website, WRTV.com.
And through Hiring Hoosiers, we highlight employment opportunities and training available to help you get the job that you want. And so let's take a look at our job feed today. Amazon says they have more than 5,400 seasonal jobs available right here in Indiana. All of the open positions start at $15 an hour. There are full and part-time jobs open right now for you. Free job skills training is available to Marion County residents who have been negatively affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Through November 15th, you can enroll online to participate in this program offered by the Washington Township Adult Education with funding through the CARES Act. And SNR Resources has a temporary job available. They need people to unbox laptop computers and label them. This is a 2 to 6 week employment opportunity up in Carmel. Pays around $14 to $15 an hour. For more information on all these jobs and the training opportunities, just head on over to our website, hiringhoosiers.com.
So, Lauren, yet another storm is heading for the Gulf Coast. Early this morning, Zeta regained hurricane strength after passing through Mexico. It's expected to make landfall as a Category 1 storm south of New Orleans tonight. Louisiana has seen 2 tropical storms and 2 hurricanes already this season. The most destructive was Hurricane Laura, which killed at least 27 people in that state. Weather officials say that Zeta should at least move relatively fast, meaning it's less of a threat for flooding. And Todd, you were telling me this morning that hurricane season ends November 30th. Let's get through this season as quickly as possible.
All right, we've had a lot, and you have to remember we're in the Greek alphabet now, so I've had people ask me, Zeta, oh man, we're already to Z, but the Greek alphabet is different, obviously, than the normal alphabet, so there's plenty more names out there. Hopefully, though, we don't even get past Zeta, as it's been very, very active across the area. All right, back home here today. We'll talk about today first, and then we'll kind of get into tomorrow's. We'll deal with some of the remnants from Zeta. This morning, there's still some clouds out there. It's still a little misty in spots. The roadways are still wet, but things will improve as the morning goes on. Some sunshine early throughout the afternoon hours, and then the clouds will start to win back out as we get into the evening. But overall, once we get past kind of this damp start to the day, it's a decent Wednesday for us, and one I do think you can get out and about and do some outdoor activities if you so choose to do so. We're in the 40s right now, so you need the jacket. It's a little on the chilly side. The dampness makes it feel feel even a little bit worse. But you can see now, we can see most of downtown, the Key Bank building, the Capitol here, as you look across Capitol Avenue as you work your way through downtown Indianapolis. And on the satellite radar picture, you notice just a little bit of moisture here still streaming through the Muncie area, but to the west, the clouds already starting to break apart. Just be a little bit patient this morning, and we'll get through by about mid-morning. The clouds will break apart, and you'll turn this into a decent Wednesday. But look at all this moisture to the south, still some snow off to the west. Wet morning in Dallas, as well as northern parts of Mississippi and Alabama. All this is streaming to the north, and then you have Zeta that's down in the Gulf of Mexico. As far as highs today, it's a little bit warmer as we get into that sunshine. That's the good news. We're looking at mid-50s. These temperatures, though, still below normal. 58 in Shelbyville today, 58 in Martinsville, Crawfordsville, a pair of Nichols, and then could get close to 60 degrees here in Seymour, as well as Bedford. Yesterday, temperatures stayed in the 40s. Let me show you TrueCast far out, the wide version, and then we'll break it down for you a little bit closer to home as we go throughout the course of tomorrow. Notice all this moisture streaming to the north. It comes in here during the overnight hours and pushes to the north. Here is Zeta itself. That's where the heaviest, most intense rain is going to be. But Zeta is combining with another area of low pressure. That's what we're mainly going to deal with. But Zeta is going to help to add wind, the wind element to this. And tomorrow is just not going to be a pleasant day. There's no way around it, as we'll be dealing with a pretty steady rain, heavy at times, windy conditions, and temperatures only in the 40s for the most part across the area. Here's that closer view. The steady rain will develop a little before midnight in southern locations. As we get into your morning commute tomorrow, here we are at 6 a.m. You notice this heavier rain starting to move in. And the morning hours tomorrow are going to be the wettest part of the day. Once we get to the afternoon hours, it's still damp. We're still dealing with rain, but it should start to taper off as we get into the evening hours. So have the umbrella handy, plan extra time. Likely going to be some ponding on the roadway with leaves clogging the storm drains and such all across central Indiana. Rainfall totals could be anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches across the area, with the heaviest of those rainfall totals being across southern portions of the area where we have a flood watch that is posted. But once past tomorrow, it's a pretty dry stretch of weather that is going to take us into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So your Halloween forecast looking pretty good. Don't forget to turn back the clock Saturday night into Sunday. And then as we get into Monday and Tuesday, it is dry. Election day is looking nice weather-wise, 59 degrees with sunshine. But look at that low temperature Monday morning, 27. That's in the city. Outlying areas, potentially even colder than that. Likely going to be a hard, solid freeze across the area. So, Lauren, quite a bit going on in the 7-day planning forecast with Halloween, Election Day, the rain tomorrow, and then those very cold temperatures as we get into Monday morning.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's get a look at traffic right now for your commute. Taking you up here to Hamilton County. Good morning to you in Fishers, Noblesville, if you're using I-69 or State Road 37. All is traveling up to speed. You can see traffic there is moving and picking up, but we're not monitoring any issues to slow you down. Of course, I'll keep a close eye on your roads and keep you updated on any problems. Raphael?
Lauren, thank you for that. The pandemic, of course, prompting more of us to shop online, which means there are more scams online. The Better Business Bureau is now reporting a major increase in scams impacting you. And they're easier to fall for than you may think. You see, John Edge was looking for some new tools when an ad popped up on an app. He paid $60 for a tool set from what he thought was a company based in Indiana. After placing his order, he learned he had been scammed. The company's phone number is now disconnected, and the Lafayette address listed does not even exist. We reached out to the Better Business Bureau for advice on how to spot these scams before it's too late for you.
You want to do your research. It's always good to go to bbb.org. You want to make certain that you look at the website, look for things like misspellings, grammar that just doesn't sound right. Also, in the URL bar, you want to make certain that it has the letters HTTPS. S is the important letter there. You want to make certain it has S on there. And many times it will also have the lock icon. It looks like a little padlock.
Always great advice from Tim Maniscalco with the BBB. If you do get scammed, the Better Business Bureau asks that you report it on the agency's Scam Tracker website. You can find a link to that by clicking on this story on our website, WRTV.com.
Well, Apple's latest iPhone update includes a COVID tracker, but does that mean that they're spying on you? We're breaking down the new features controversy just after the break. Stick around.
So this morning, what's trending at 6? Of course, Lauren, as you know, we are both proud FC grads, but there's some days that I wish I had that Purdue engineering degree, especially if we build something for Halloween.
Yes, and we know this year things are going to be a little different. People are having to get kind of creative to deal with some of the changes and some of the restrictions. And so take a look at this. We've seen candy chutes, we've seen cardboard tubes, but this is a family out in Pennsylvania. Maybe they're Purdue grads. We'll see. They're using this candy catapult. They made this contraption with wood, springs, and a Halloween bucket. The family says they're just trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Pretty creative there. I like that. Gotta put a little effort into it.
I'm calling West Lafayette today. I am enrolling for next year to take on the Purdue class. In the meantime, Lauren, let me take you to beautiful Hamilton County this morning. You can't see much because the sun hasn't really come up yet, but when it does at some point this week, this is a picture from Sarah Risley. This is a picture of Billericay Park in Fishers, one of the many, many beautiful views of the seasonal change in central Indiana. And Todd, we really have to enjoy these moments before, of course, winter settles in. But I have to say that that is one beautiful place.
That is an absolutely beautiful picture there with the sunshine and the yellow leaves and the oranges as well. As we go into the coming days, unfortunately, a lot of these leaves are going to continue to come down both tomorrow and into Friday as we deal with some rain and wind and then still breezy conditions into the weekend. All right, a lot of people have been early voting, which has been absolutely spectacular, but there's been long lines. And so if you're heading out to vote early today, and this is going to be the forecast as you go into all locations, not just there at the City County building. Mostly cloudy skies, but it should be a lot drier than yesterday. Temperatures will be climbing up into the 50s. Enjoy today because as we go forward into the day tomorrow, tomorrow it's going to be a pretty strong rainfall for us. It's going to be windswept. It's not going to be the best day to stand in line or just to be out and about because we could see 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. So if you're thinking about early voting, today would be a good day. We'll talk more about all this heavy rain that is heading our way and the potential for some flooding across the area. It's all coming up, Lauren, in just a couple minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. So there's a new feature on Apple's latest iPhone update, and it's causing some controversy and confusion because it has to do with COVID tracking. Consumer reporter John Matarese looks into whether they're watching you so you don't waste your money.
Do you have an Apple iPhone? There's a lot of confusion these days over its COVID tracking feature. Some people want it, some people don't want it, and a lot of people are just plain confused. Yes, it's true. Apple's iOS 13.5 update over the summer added a COVID tracking feature to your iPhone. But that doesn't mean the government is spying on you, according to both Apple and reports in ZDNet and 9to5Mac. You will need to activate the system with help from a local health department for it to work. You can find it by going to Settings, Privacy, and Health, and look for COVID-19 exposure logging. It explains that an authorized app is required to turn the feature on. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, fears that Apple is secretly tracking you for COVID-19. First of all, if your location services are on, your phone keeps a record of where you've been. That's not new. But there is no truth to rumors that Apple or the government is checking to see if you're near people infected with the coronavirus. You have to turn the feature on for that to happen. And people with the virus would have to turn the feature on too. No smartphone can simply sniff out the virus. Bottom line, no one is tracking your phone unless you want them to. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday morning, this is your 6:30 news feed. A man found dead inside a vehicle on the west side of Indianapolis became the city's 200th homicide victim. Metro Police called to Longview Lane just off of Tibbs around 7:30 last night on reports of a crash. A man inside that vehicle died at the scene, but police say his injuries were not caused by that crash.
A man is in the hospital following a fire on the city's east side. The fire started just before 11 last night on LaSalle Street near 10th and Rural. Firefighters say that the fire may have started on a hot plate. The man is expected to survive his injuries. The duplex sustained nearly $75,000 worth of damage.
A rise in COVID-19 cases is forcing a change for plans for Pike Township schools in Indianapolis. Starting next Monday, all 3 of Pike Township's middle schools will go back to a hybrid schedule. Middle school students will be in class 2 days a week and do virtual learning for the other 3 days. The new schedule will be in place for at least 2 weeks or until the positivity rate in Marion County starts to come down.
Students in 2 other school districts will go back to all virtual learning because of COVID-19 increases. South Putnam Middle and High School students will remain home for e-learning for the rest of the week. And students at all Delphi schools, they'll begin virtual learning this morning, and they're going to remain at home through at least November 10th. The time right now is 6:30. It is Wednesday morning, and we've made it halfway through your work week. Raphael, it hasn't been the nicest work week in the weather department. We've been kind of complaining, right?
That's right. We're going to keep smiling through this Wednesday because, Todd, honestly, if I can be honest this morning, I'm honest every morning, but yeah. I'm not looking forward to Thursday with all that rain because, you know, we flood here in my house. So if we maybe keep it to a small level of rain, I would be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Can we make a deal here? Can you help a brother out?
I don't know if I'm ready to make that deal with you, Raphael. Unfortunately, you're going to see quite a bit of rainfall down in your area. The heaviest, though, should be south of you. The further south you go in Indiana, the heavier the rain's going to be. That's for tomorrow, and we'll highlight that coming up in Maine weather as it won't be a very pleasant day. This morning, temperatures are in the 40s. There's still some clouds out there, still some mist and a little bit of drizzle, but most of that's starting to come to an end. It's pushing off towards the east. That is the good news. And the clouds starting to break apart here already in western portions of the state. And that trend should continue from west to east here this morning. And I do think there's a window of opportunity for some sunshine across the area before the clouds start to gather once again later on this evening. Just be a little bit patient this morning. Temperatures in the 40s. The clouds will break apart. A little bit of sunshine here the middle half of the day. That sunshine, though, will help to boost the temperatures up into the 50s before the clouds return this evening, and then the rain arrives close to midnight, and once it starts, it's heavy at times into your Thursday, as we alluded to. More on that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks. Let's get a check of traffic as you're heading out on the roads this Wednesday. Here's a look on I-70 here. This is on the east side of town. You can see that traffic is traveling up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. No lane restrictions or delays at this hour to slow down your commute, so that is good news if you're heading in from the east side of Marion County or Hancock County. Good morning to you. We'll keep you updated. Raphael?
Now to our Democracy 2020 coverage, Lauren. The candidates in the race for governor of Indiana with a final push before Election Day. During last night's virtual debate, Republican Governor Eric Holcomb, Democrat Dr. Woody Myers, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater discussed a wide range of issues. One question the candidates were asked and answered is, what is the role of government to address and eliminate racial disparities?
We can also start being more aware of the disparities in regulations and laws that adversely affect minorities and minority opportunities. And most of these things, again, are government related, because when government oversteps its bounds, it usually does so in a way that adversely affects the minority community. And we can fix that by having a governor who is actually working on that himself.
We need bias training for all of our officers as a routine part of their training. We need oversight of that very small percentage of officers that don't follow policy, that where accusations have been made. You know, the vast majority of our officers do exactly as they're supposed to, and they know that this small percentage is hurting the reputations of the profession. And yes, we do need decriminalization for simple possession, and we need to make sure that we legalize medical marijuana in the state and apply our laws fairly and equally.
I will appoint the first ever cabinet level chief officer of inclusion and opportunity and equity the CEIOO. That's a mouthful. But they will be in charge of making sure that we remove any barriers, that we remove any hurdles, and address those gaps. Economic empowerment will go a long way, but we need to be looking at housing, transportation, health outcomes, all the above, including our training, the ILEA, the way that we train our officers, and we will have body cams come next year.
Our Democracy 2020 coverage continues right now with an in-depth recap of last night's debate right now at our website, WRTV.com.
At 6:35 starting today, you'll have a chance to see IndyCar drivers speeding around IMS as they start to get ready for next year's Indy 500. IndyCar Series champion Scott Dixon, Ed Carpenter, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, and reigning Indy 500 champ Takuma Sato will be testing today and tomorrow, weather permitting. Newgarden and Sato test this afternoon from 11 to 6, and all 6 drivers are scheduled to test Thursday. You can watch the testing for free from the Turn 2 viewing mounds. However, you must wear a mask and practice social distancing.
Lauren, maybe all that testing will stop the rain. We'll have to wait and see. So they say they don't want a gravel pit inside a popular park. Next, right here on Good Morning Indiana, a live report on the potential impact of this project, plus why some people say the pit is needed. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV. New cases of COVID-19 remain high across our state. In its latest report, the state health department says 51 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. That's the highest number of daily deaths in a single report since back in May. Since the pandemic began, more than 3,900 Hoosiers have died with the virus. The health department also reports 2,062 new coronavirus cases. Later today, the state will update its color-coded map that shows the likelihood of COVID-19 community spread for each Indiana county. The time now is 6:39, and they say they want to keep it out of their park. A group of residents is fighting a proposed new gravel pit in Hamilton County.
Yeah, but the group behind the project says it'll benefit the community in the long term. And so our own Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with more on the proposal. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So we're here at Potters Bridge Park in Noblesville, where Beaver Materials, they want to put a gravel pit in this park, which is good for walking, and there's a playground and lots of wooded areas. So some residents are concerned. They say they don't want that gravel pit in their neighborhood. So take a look at this video from last night as dozens of people in downtown Noblesville took to the streets, sending their message loud and clear. They do not want the gravel pit in their neighborhood park. Now, we spoke to Allie Beaver, who's leading the proposed gravel pit, and she tells us they are doing everything by the book and eventually want to turn the gravel pit into a lake similar to the one that Beaver Materials built at Ketowah years ago.
I actually grew up down the street from the proposed location. That's where my parents still live today. I rode my bike on those parks daily, or on those paths daily. So I understand how important this trail is and how much it means to the city of Noblesville. As the city of Noblesville grows, the parks need to grow as well. And that's really what we're trying to do here.
So on the group's website, don'tleaveittobeaver.com, a play on the company's name, they list other options. They also list health, safety, and ecological concerns. And you can find the link to their website right now on the WRTV News app. Now, this issue won't be voted on here in Noblesville until December, and no official requests have been filed for this gravel pit. But we did speak to the president of the Common Council, and he says that they will listen to both sides, obviously, of this argument before they make their official decision again in December. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you so much. They did not wait for others to help their neighborhood. Next, how they're working to fill a desperate need on the east side of Indianapolis. But first, let's check your forecast on this Wednesday with our Todd Clausen. Good morning, TK.
Raphael, good morning. As you walk out the door, some of you will encounter a little bit of mist or some patchy drizzle still for your morning commute and wet roadways, but no heavy rainfall is out there. That is the good news as you get going. As you come home, just cloudy skies, a little bit warmer today at 55 degrees. Enjoy the break from the rain because look to our south. There is a lot of rain and even some snow. This moisture is going to be heading our way. Your Thursday turns into pretty much a washout of a day. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
It is 6:44 on your Wednesday. A traffic alert for drivers right now who use I-65 southbound to get into the downtown area. Here's a live look from our camera at I-65 and 30th Street. We have a crash. It is blocking now. Looks like all the lanes of the interstate, and traffic is getting by in the right shoulder there. It is moving pretty slowly, and this just happens so the backup isn't too long at this hour. But this is something we'll continue to monitor. So if you're heading in towards downtown from the northwest side of Marion County, even Boone County drivers, just be aware of this and give yourself that extra time. We'll let you know if you need to reroute.
So, Lauren, this story is about two guys just doing good. Two men are improving their neighborhood by opening a grocery store.
Yeah, the store's location is inside one of the city's hardest hit food deserts in our community.
Yes.
And our own Cameron Riddle is showing us why the owners are not waiting for someone else to help their own community.
On the east side of Indianapolis, a locally owned grocery store is helping fill the void in an area known as a food desert.
We have fresh fruits and vegetables, canned goods, dairy products.
The Wall Street Market grocery store has a little bit of everything. In the middle of a pandemic, Michael McFarland and his business partner, Marcus Williams, opened this grocery store near East 38th Street and Emerson Avenue.
Our motivation for starting this store was basically to give back to our neighborhood. We seen that the place that we grew up with people didn't have access to fresh food.
The store opened on the 4th of July, and already McFarland says some of his shelves are empty thanks to a steady stream of customers. He says it's a clear sign how badly the area needed a grocery store.
People from the neighborhood, they love us. They love that we're from the neighborhood. They love that we're here helping and supporting them, giving them options, so they don't have to go all the way across town just to get a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk.
The lack of food access has been mentioned as a factor in the city's ongoing violence issue. This business owner says reducing violence and taking care of the community's needs goes hand in hand.
When people get desperate, they do desperate things. So, food is a necessity for life. So, if you starve somebody, you might do some crazy things that they might not have to do.
Both Marcus and Michael will tell you the future for this store and this community is bright. And they're not waiting for Kroger or Walmart to come in and save the day.
We're right here right now. Wall Street Market could be the next Walmart or the next Kroger. With the support of the city, this could be something that could go globally or worldwide.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
Cameron, thank you. And the Wall Street Market is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Again, that's located along East 38th Street. Raphael.
More local news on this Wednesday, Lauren. Indianapolis continues to invest in connecting the city through trails. Check this out. On Tuesday, city leaders celebrated the trails projects constructed this year alone. The Department of Public Works and Indy Parks say there were 11 major projects in 2020, including this one at the convergence of the Central Canal Towpath and Fall Creek Trail. The work totaled about $20 million. Mayor Joe Hogsett says the new and improved pathways come as interest in using them is increasing.
This also happens at a time when sales of bicycles have spiked to their highest levels in decades, and when more city residents are exploring their city on foot. Have you gotten your steps in today? These improvements, frankly, could not come at a better time.
You can find a full list of this year's trail and greenway projects on the WRTV app. And Todd, you and I, we love our trails. We'll need a jacket today, rain gear tomorrow.
Yeah, today will be an opportunity to get out on the trails no matter where you are here across central Indiana, whether it's the Beeline, the Franklin Trail, there where you are, Raphael, the Monon, and then eventually some of the trails there in northern locations as well, because it'll be dry once we get past a few hours here this morning. Still kind of damp out there right now. We've had some drizzle overnight that's continued now into your Wednesday morning commute, 45 degrees, but that should start to come to an end. That's the good news, and most of today will be a dry day before we get into into a very, very wet day for your Thursday. 47 in Bloomington right now, as well as Muncie. 43 in Tipton, Peru at 41. Obviously, you definitely need to have the jacket here this morning. We'll thin the clouds out as the morning goes on, and we'll get a little bit of sunshine, I think, in here throughout the middle half of the day before the clouds increase once again this afternoon. And then this evening, we're mostly cloudy. Temperatures today in the mid-50s. Here's that last little wave of moisture moving out of the area that was giving us the drizzle. And there's a few showers still near Muncie over into the Winchester area. But most of central Indiana is starting to dry out. You see the clouds thinning out as well. But as we expand out, there is a lot of moisture out there to our south. You're just starting to see the northern fringes of the radar picking up the rain from Zeta. The radar from the land can't go that far out into the Gulf of Mexico, but there's more rain there than it's indicated. But look at the rain and the snow moving through parts of Texas, and all this is going to surge to the north very quickly later on this afternoon and eventually into the evening hours. After sunset, there could be a hit or miss shower, but it's really probably not until closer to midnight and then into the overnight hours that steady rain will start to develop from south to north across the area. Tomorrow morning's commute, you need to plan ahead right now. It's going to be a wet one. There's likely going to be some ponding on the roadways, especially on more of your local streets where leaves could be clogging the storm drains. And the rain will be coming down quite heavy, and the wind's going to kick in as well. So this is not going to be just a nice little gentle rain. It's going to be kind of windswept. So tomorrow's just not a pleasant day for us. Here we are late morning into the early afternoon, some pretty good rain. Once we do get to the afternoon hours, though, the rain should start to tail off just a little bit and become a little bit lighter. But even for the evening commute, there will still be rain around. Now, as far as potential rainfall totals, the further north you are, it's still a good soaking, a half an inch to an inch of rain, but not quite the flooding potential that there will be in southern locations. From Indianapolis to the south, in general, 1 to 2 inches of rain, but I do think the further south you go, Columbus into Seymour, Bedford, there will be the potential for maybe even 3 inches of rain with this system. That's why the National Weather Service has this flood watch that's already posted in southern locales. So plan ahead if you do live in one of those flood-prone areas. You are going to see quite a bit of rainfall over the next 24 hours. Storm Shield, a good app to have that'll alert you to if any of those flood watches become warnings throughout the day. Has radar you can control as well as some of this rain moves through, and you can plan your Thursday out. Once we get to Friday, we start to dry out, and it does start a dry stretch of weather for us. That is the good news going forward. Sunday, we turn the clocks back 1 hour. Don't forget about that. Your Halloween forecast is dry at 56 degrees. Monday morning in the 20s. A very, very cold start to the day all across the area. But for Election Day, the good news is plenty of sunshine for anybody standing in lines and high temperatures near 60 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you. And here is the backup. It is building on southbound I-65 heading towards downtown Indianapolis. We do have a crash that looks like it's blocking all southbound lanes. Traffic just getting by in a right shoulder, so we still have movement. Not a complete parking lot in that area, but things are getting backed up, and the backup is starting to grow. So if you're heading into the downtown area from the northwest side and you normally take Interstate 65, what you can do to avoid all of these delays, I would get off all the way back at Lafayette Road, take that southbound this morning for your commute, maybe around 16th Street. You can take that east, head over the White River, and then use that to reroute to get into the downtown area. Plan ahead, give yourself that extra time. You can see it's just crawling here in all lanes. Of course, we'll keep you updated. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here is a look at that crash that's slowing down traffic coming in from the northwest side. This is southbound I-65 at 30th Street. Traffic just getting by very slowly there in a right shoulder. The backup is growing. I just tweeted out a detour. This is something we'll follow throughout your morning. We'll let you know on air and online when the lanes are back open. For now, it is 6:55 on your Wednesday morning. Todd's going to get a look at our forecast in just a minute, but Raphael, let's start out with your top stories for today.
The former yearbook advisor at Brown County High School has resigned, Lauren. Dr. Greg Mosley's resignation comes after school officials found that he was responsible for a yearbook caption that referred to a student as a black guy.
Out in Vigo County, school leaders are trying to figure out who sent out a fake text message to every parent in their district. The message claims the district would be switching to e-learning because of a spike of COVID cases. Well, the school district says the message is not from them and they will operate as normal.
The Marion County Clerk's Office extending early voting at the City County Building. Today through Friday, you can vote from 8 in the morning until 9, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. Again, this is only at the City County Building. Marion County's satellite voting locations will have normal hours.
And if you are heading out to vote, today may be a better day than tomorrow, Todd, because rain is on the way.
Yeah, today, you know, it's going to be dry. There's a little bit of patchy mist that's kind of moving out of the area currently, and the rest of today will be dry with a high of 59. Tomorrow's virtually a washout. Heavy rain in the morning, then lighter rain, but still pretty steady in the afternoon. It's windy as well, 50 degrees. Friday, we start to dry out, and that will start a dry stretch of weather that takes us right into November. Hard to believe. Halloween and Election Day, both looking dry. That is the good news for any activities on Halloween or standing in line to vote on Election Day. The one thing you'll notice, very cold Monday morning.